Gray, Conversations of Race in America on WSGW. Now, here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Welcome. This is Kareem Bowen to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. Today, we're going to be talking about Juneteenth, the celebration of Juneteenth, not only in America, but right here in our city. Saginaw Juneteenth celebration. We have with us today as a special guest, Miss Renee Morris. Renee is the founder of Cosby, Coalition of Successful Black Entrepreneurs. And she is here with us today. She is also the president of the Saginaw Juneteenth celebration and has been responsible or is responsible for a revitalization of something that had kind of fallen through the cracks from days past. We'll talk to her in just a second. But I got my man, Mark Bassett, who is my co-host for the show in the stream. Mark, what's good with you over there in Midland Town?
I was just cleaning leaves off my gutters. I was telling Jonathan, I was saying I'm getting too old for this too. I'm going to fall off. I'm 65. I shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah, it's time for you to get some gutter guards.
I've got the gutter guards, but we've got all these like helicopter things for maple trees that are clogging the gutter guards up. So I got to get them off. So I think I can afford it though.
I think you will be okay, Mark.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get right into this because there's a lot for us to talk about today, but I want to talk about what is hot off the press. I want to give a shout out to all of the graduates of 2026 that are out there graduating, doing their thing, making great things happen, are excited about this new frontier, this new opportunity that lies ahead of them, whether it's school or trades or whatever it is that they're finding. It's an exciting moment, and you can feel that excitement throughout communities across the country. There was here in Saginaw, and unless you've been under a rock, there was a shooting of a young man on what was prom night. And I'm talking about Dion Wiley III here in the city of Saginaw. It has literally that story of him has gone viral across the nation, with even celebrities providing commentary and comments on his untimely death. So our thoughts and prayers once again are with that family. I'm reporting this because I did attend Saginaw United High School's graduation, and there was a special tribute to his mother, who showed up after everyone had been given their diplomas. She came dressed in cap and gown and walked across the stage and received her son's diploma. She was visibly shaken and moved, as to be expected, but her strength and resolve that was displayed was absolutely amazing. What I loved, because I wasn't sure when I found out that she was going to do this, what it would be like. I thought it would be a very heavy moment. But what happened in that moment was almost electric. It made me Saginaw proud. The arena, the field arena, stood and applauded probably what seemed like almost 5 minutes. It was going and it would slow down and it would go again. As she walked across the stage, she took diploma in hand, went down the other side, and took pictures in honor of her deceased son. This is something that no parent should have to do. Instead of celebrating this new future and celebrating what could be and celebrating what was going to be graduation, they were in the process of planning a funeral. But this was, I looked at that mother, Miss Renee, and I saw such a strength and a resolve. I saw a community that gave support and applauded her as she went across. And it really changed the tone of the moment. Celebrating her looked like it gave her strength. So my thoughts and prayers are out to that family. They still have a final funeralization process to take care of. It's going to be one in which the entire community will be on end. But I'm just thankful that in these moments, we really love our community. So shout out to that family and prayers. I do also want to talk about gas prices, Mark. I know that this is something that affects all of us. What are you thinking about those prices at the pump?
Well, I filled up my tank yesterday, and I thought I was back in Orange County, California. I mean, I do get premium for my car, but it was over $5 a gallon, which I had never seen in this state, to be honest with you. I mean, that was typical for Southern California with all their different state taxes and everything. But for Michigan to have that, it's just it's crazy,
What
honestly.
was that final bill to fill up, Mark?
It was pushing $100, 80 something dollars or something like that. I can't remember exactly. It wasn't empty. It was probably 3/4 empty, kind of a thing. So,
Miss Renee, how are you feeling? Are you feeling the pain at the pump?
I'm feeling the go back and put 20 in every chance I get.
I'm gonna put 20 in today. I'm gonna put 20 in 2 days from tomorrow. Hey, guess what? 20 plus 20 plus 20 is still gonna equal 60. But people are being creative in terms of how they can do it. I'm telling you, somebody called me and said, "Hey, you can get $1 off gas at Speedway," and I was like, "How do I get it?" Download the app, text this, and I'm like, "How many numbers do I have that I can get $1 off?" Right?
well, Kareem may be too young to remember this, but we used to have to lock our gas cap. They had a key for your gas cap because people
Yeah,
during the,
yeah.
in the 70s during the fuel crisis were siphoning off gas and things, and your cars had locks on their gas caps.
Yeah, Mark, it's crazy to think about right now with we were talking about food prices, but to consider gas prices is and add that into a family that's on a fixed income. One would wonder how are they making ends meet? It is a very uh tough situation and dilemma, the choices that people have to make.
Oh, I mean,
And
you hear stories of people rationing food, and I mean, again, people on a very tight budget.
and the thing that really concerns me are I remember when my grandmother
Go from say $3. It's a big change in your fuel bill.
absolutely. But I remember my grandmother was at a point where she was basically taking half of her medication to make it go longer. I'm like, Grandma, what are you doing? If you need it, you need to let someone know. So there's seniors out there that I know that are just like my grandmother, that gas prices and food prices and all of these things and inflationary uh, are causing all kinds of disruptions to people's everyday life. I'm pretty certain that there are other seniors out there that are trying to figure out, okay, can I make my medication last longer? Because I really can't afford to get these refills on this. So we're hoping that there will be some hope. There is, I was watching this morning, they said that they're moving closer to getting back to talking, and I'm talking about the United States and Iran. They're closer to talks that would open up the Strait of Hormuz. And for those of you who don't know, when this war began, one of the responses by Iran was like, we're cutting off the supply, or we're cutting off, if you don't pay this tax, you're not getting through the strait. And so then there was a boycott on supplies going to Iran. And so nobody wins in this particular situation. And so hopefully they can get back and they can put their pride aside and do what's best for the citizens of both of those nations. We're going to stay tuned with that particular thing as we continue to move forward. Now, Mark, this is something that's really interesting. I got a call from a friend down who used to be in Virginia. They're now down in South Carolina. And they were like, hey, Kareem, what do you think about this? And so they, sent me this article. And the article was really about this fight on redistricting. We were talking about it a little before, started with Texas. Everybody wants to redistrict to get more, votes in for their people. And so with the current situation and what's happening, the NAACP, not the NAACP, the NCAA, wrong seed, wrong doubles, NCAA, not the NAACP, but the NCAA has pushed forward this new initiative or this new push that they call Out of Bounds. And Out of Bounds is essentially an effort to encourage Black athletes, standout athletes, from playing in those SEC schools. And when we say SEC schools, there's 16 of those schools that are in the SEC, and they got some bangers out there. Alabama, University of Arkansas, Auburn University, University of Florida, University of Kentucky,
Georgia.
Vanderbilt, Texas, all of these schools. And so just like the Montgomery boycott, they're saying boycott SEC schools. What do you think about that, Mark?
I think it's a joke, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, it's easy. I mean, the NCAA, you sure it was the NCAA and not the NAACP?
No, it was NCAA.
All right. I mean, they've got real no teeth as a governing body. And to ask these kids, many of whom are from underprivileged backgrounds, to forego playing at some of the most preeminent college football programs that paid them a lot of money now to be there, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, and develop them and to become professional athletes, to ask them to forego that and go to some lesser school is just absurd and ridiculous.
Well, I hear you, Mark, and I would think that that would be the majority response to something of that nature. And so I want to caution, because this is the thing. When I look at what took place with the Montgomery boycotts, those boycotts meant that people were losing their livelihood. It meant that workers, even the sanitation boycott worker, it meant that workers, people who rode those buses, meant that they would have a longer route and have to go by foot, or just really go through a hardship to get there. And so it cost them something to get the response that was necessary.
But you're hurting a school which has its own budget. I mean, the school doesn't make these rules. They're not doing the redistricting. The president of the school, and okay, I guess maybe the president of the school can try to influence a state congressman. I mean, but that's kind of, I think.
Well, you're thinking just in terms of that school, but let's look at this. I hailed Michigan State University, and when I look at MSU's campus, when those Spartans, there's a team on the bank of the Red Cedar whose Spartans play good ball. When we look at them, and they would come in and they would have a game, the entire community profited off of the games that took place.
I hear what you're saying. I think it's a noble. To me, it's just kind of fanfare, because I think the practicality of it is basically zero.
Okay. Well, I think that when they were doing sit-ins and boycotts back in MLK's day, that they probably thought the practicality of that was zero as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Day, you're over there. You said, what did you say? You said you did?
I did. At the school at BV at that time, they had us sit down in the hallways, and we did it. Probably.
What is happened by people?
I hear all this, but you're asking a kid to walk away from $500,000 a year when his parents are living in poverty.
But the reality of it is, these kids can go other places to play.
They can, for sure.
Can. And so that is the message. And I think that having that kind of conversation, and in order to really make the needle move, one of the things that I believe Black America has done, that has not benefited well, is that once some of us have began to prosper and profit in certain areas, we began to forget about the benefit of the collective. And so I think that what happened in MLK's day, and we're seeing a resurgence, since there are entities that are pushing us back to what seems like Jim Crow era, that many of the struggles, and it was funny, Mark, because like we used to say as kids, if I were alive back in those days, I would have did such and such. If I was during, the voting, I would have done this. And it's crazy because my generation is now having the opportunity to have the same conversations about the protecting and the equality of a vote. And these boycotts, these conversations, to me, it's sad. I believe that we are really having them, but to see what's taking place, to me, is meaningful. And I think that whenever people are able to coalesce around an idea and really stand in solidarity, and people make big money off of those games. When Michigan State came to town, or whatever team played in East Lansing, the bars were full, the restaurants were full, they were making money off of parking, gas stations were making, the entire community benefits from that funds. And so I think
I hear what you're saying again, and it's all valid. I'm just looking at the practicality of trying to pull because you're trying to pull something like that off. And frankly, the more direct route is through your vote, because you can change who's in office every 2 years. And I guess I would be focused on trying to encourage athletes to organize, getting people out to vote, because you have a much, I think.
I would agree with you, Mark. I do agree. I think, and what you're going to see this year is record turnout for a number of people in areas, because you can dilute the power of a vote, but if you get the masses up to get out to vote, that makes a difference. So I think that that's going to be a real push. But in addition to that, I think that when a state, if I am a governor, if I am a senator, if I am a representative of a particular area, and I'm being impacted, schools are being impacted, money's being impacted, community stores are being impacted. Now I'm getting your attention, because America does not understand anything but the power of green. And so I think economic boycotts, and we've seen this conversation take place before, are the way to make political waves, to get the attention of those who may not otherwise listen. And so it's going to be interesting to see.
We have a midterm election coming up in whatever this year.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens. I mean, as we talked, I think it was last week or the week before, I've never voted in a midterm election. I will this time. I'm also going to vote. I'm a registered Republican, but as we discussed, and I'll say it again publicly, I'm going to vote straight line Democratic Party, even if I don't like that candidate, because I'm so disgusted with what has historically been my party and the refusal to take a stance with what's going on in many cases. So,
hey, Mark, what happens? I know you're a Republican, registered Republican. Your friends, your groups of people that are also Republicans, how do they view it when you make? I mean, that is a bold stand. That's not just saying I'm not going to vote. That's saying I want to make sure that not only do I not vote, but I vote in a way that overthrows this current situation. What do friends and community members think?
Yeah, they don't say a lot, frankly. And again, most of them know where I stand. They just listen. I won't say who it is. I was having breakfast, and this was back in the 2020 election, Biden-Trump, and I was having breakfast with a former politician that had multiple state, local, and federal positions, Republican, obviously Midland. And I explained to him, what my distaste for Donald Trump. And he basically said, like, you're not going to vote for Joe Biden, are you? And I said, for sure I am, because I can't. Donald Trump fails my first test as president. The most important test is, are you a leader? And my definition of a leader is someone who has an aspirational vision that unites people. He doesn't have a vision that divides people. And so he fails test one. So, and he was like, and he actually said that, if Trump loses, it's going to be for people like you think, and which he did lose. And he basically took a stance of like, I just can never vote against a Republican. And I'm like, at what point do principles matter? At some point, principles have to matter. And so on a matter of and many of his policies at a super high level, him being Trump, I don't fundamentally disagree with. What I disagree with is how they're implemented and just the sheer horrible rhetoric, hatred, vile rhetoric, and vile behavior that I just feel fails the fundamental test of a leader. I always ask them, like, if this was your son, would you be proud of this son? If you were hiring people, would you hire this man? If you wouldn't hire him, how could you vote for him for president?
Essentially, you're hiring for a job, right?
Yeah.
So Mark, that's interesting, and I'm along the lines. This is a party question because not many Republicans have publicly kind of said what you just said.
And that's why I'm going to vote against every Republican, to make a stand against because ultimately Donald Trump is who he is. He always has been. Everybody knows who he is. I mean, my bigger disappointment is the Republican aperture or the structure of the Republican Party that absolutely refuses to stand up to him. And the few that do, they all rally around each other. The other ones stay quiet, and the party and Trump gang up to get them kicked out. And so that's why this, midterm is going to be super interesting, because take Texas or take Massey in Kentucky. Take Massey in Kentucky. You stood up on them against a few issues, not all issues, a few issues. They moved to get him out. It'll be interesting to see if the Trump candidate gets elected or if people rush to the polls to defeat the Trump candidate. So,
some people have said, Mark, and I really hate political conversations, really, but this is interesting because this is something that is just kind of hot out there. Pam Bondi, who was replaced as the head of the DOJ, has come back to testify, not on camera. They'll record text wise and release the recording or the script on the Epstein files. What significance do you think that's going to play, or does it have any level of significance now?
Well, it depends on what she says, obviously. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. on whether, I mean, again, the Department of Justice is supposed to be an independent body, and whether, she basically says that Trump told her not to do stuff, which is what, Marjorie Taylor Greene is telling people, or whether she continues to defend this man. So, I mean, it's, again, the Department of Justice. I mean, you talk about weaponization of the Department of Justice. Holy cow, now they're going after E. Jean Carroll. I mean, they got nothing better to do than go after E. Jean Carroll. Yeah, I mean, come on. So,
okay, so Mark, last thing, you mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's out there. Some think that her current stance and her bold stance against Donald Trump signifies that she's going to run for some larger office. What are your thoughts concerning that?
I don't have any. I mean, I've never followed her closely. I mean, I've always viewed her as the typical Trump, cult person. Obviously, she's, there's a part of me that hopes that she had an epiphany that, that what am I doing? And that, she as a woman is basically standing behind a guy that, is covering up, or appears to be covering up this pedophile thing. And at some point, I've got to take a stand on something. There's a part of me that hopes that's the case, but who knows? So.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back from that break, we're going to get into the topic for this session of USG, United Shades of Gray. And we're going to be talking with the other young lady that's in the stream, Renee Morris, who is the ambassador for the city of Saginaw for the Saginaw Juneteenth celebration. She laughs when I say that, but she picked it up, put it on her shoulders, and she has been carrying this great presentation and celebration of history. I want you to stick, stay, don't go away. We'll be back with more United Shades of Gray.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
This is Kareem. We're back with more United Shades of Gray, conversations of race in America. And today we're going to be talking about Juneteenth. Unless you've been under a rock or hidden in the rainforest of Costa Rica, hopefully by now you have heard about Juneteenth, but there are many people who have not because it had been not been celebrated as a national holiday, which as it is now. But we have Renee Morris, who is the CEO, Executive Director of Cosby. Once again, what does Cosby stand for, Ms. Renee?
Coalition of Successful Businesses and Entrepreneurs.
All right. So this is a coalition.
Cosby, and I was going to suggest you change the acronym, but okay, Cosby. Okay.
What were you going to suggest that she change?
Well, not yet.
I got you.
Cosby, like Bill Cosby, you might want to change the acronym. Okay.
COSBE, Coalition of Successful Businesses and Entrepreneurs. But Ms. Renee, so when we think about Juneteenth, let's talk a little bit about Juneteenth. Share with folks, what is the Juneteenth celebration? If you could just lean into that mic and just share a little bit.
Well, as we know, Juneteenth is a national holiday. It has been for 5 years now, but it has been celebrated for over 400 years. When Granger came into Galveston to let the people know that they were free. They had been free for 2 years based on the proclamation.
Yes.
But Emancipation Proclamation. Was it Edict 2 or 5? Which one number? Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
Okay, go ahead.
But the people in Galveston did not know because the farmers wanted to keep them working. It was harvest time and they kept them working for 2 years. So now we have Juneteenth and it is celebrated across the world, not only United States, it's celebrated in other countries. And it has taken a twist in how we celebrate it. We have begun to give recognition to our local people and different leaders in the community and working on building community and personal growth and things of that nature.
So in essence, You mentioned Juneteenth, the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863
1860.
went into effect January 1st. That's where they came up. All of the black folks were in church waiting for the turning of the hour. And so the president would sign that into law, whereby freeing all slaves, 1863, January 1st. Your statement is those southern states, those Confederate states, they're like, wait a minute, we got free labor here. We want to keep this going. So even though, and we knew what the Civil War was about, many people say that the Civil War was about a lot of different things, but it was really about, do we want to continue to keep slavery? That's my assumption. And that was with that, textiles and cotton and tobacco and all of those industries that really built the South were now challenged to find a new labor force. And so when the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863 was signed, by which president?
Oh, no.
I'm taking you back in history. Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. 2.5 years later, it's Juneteenth because it is a kind of merging of June 19th.
Right.
That was the date, June 19th, 1865. 2.5 years later, General Granger Gordon, I always get that name tongue-tied, marches in with Union soldiers and reads on horsemen. I mean, black soldiers on horses. So essentially, and this is what I love about this story, is that many people think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. He wrote the piece, but black folks helped free themselves. They fought in the war for their freedom. Many of them fought on the Confederate side with the thought that they would get their freedom as well. So we were an essential part of this battle for freedom that changed not only the landscape of America, but then essentially began to lay the foundations of who is an American. And then it also began to change. We looked at industrialization coming in. How does this new territory in the South begin and continue to function and fund themselves? So without that free slave labor, there is a need for machines, the cotton gin, and things of that nature to keep what we started going. So he rides in on horse with these Union soldiers, and he reads this decree that in 1863, January 1st, y'all didn't know it. Y'all still out here picking cotton, but we's free now. What does that? So that symbolizes, I guess, freedom for like that. All Americans, all slaves are now free. What was the response that historically has been the case with that announcement?
Historically, they began to party in the streets. They moved down from where they were to a church that still celebrates Juneteenth. So then that celebration was continued every year.
First in Galveston, Texas, correct?
Yes, which now they have a beautiful mural in Galveston about Juneteenth. So then it became every state started making it a holiday, not a national holiday. So then from state to state to state to state, which Miss Lula Braggs Galloway was a part of that part of
here in Saginaw,
yes, in making it a national holiday. So then it became a national holiday.
And so now we are celebrating Juneteenth, celebration of freedom for all Americans. And I've often been saying this, that this is not a black celebration, a black holiday. This is an American holiday.
Yes, it is.
And so all Americans should be a part of this celebration. What are we doing this year here in Saginaw? I know that you have been, I think since 2001, yes. You have been implementing. I say, hey, just get going. The community will back it up. So now this is this year number 4, I believe.
Yes, it is.
So the 4th year that you have been doing this, what is to be expected? I know that you have some events and things that are going on that we've been planning. What's to be expected?
Well, this year the theme is the power of legacy, honoring those who have passed. We lost quite a few of our leaders last year. Maddie Thompson, Wilma Ham, Coach Thomas, Doc Smith, and Naisha Young Clark. and we will honor them in loving memory at the gala, which is June the 13th at the Horizon. Doors open at 5. Tickets are 75. It is a fundraiser. And we will also have our Freedom Parade on June the 20th and festival.
All right. So when you say this, what are we talking about? You said a gala. What is this gala about? You mentioned something about legacy. Tell me what
Can I
exactly.
go?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, can I go to the gala?
Absolutely.
Yes,
You get
yes.
to dress up. I don't get many opportunities to dress up anymore. I think I want to go to the gala.
It is a semi-formal affair. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Likes to dress up, and he
Yes.
does. You do so well, Mark. You do
Yeah.
quite well. So this gala, did you say legacy?
It's the power of legacy.
The power of legacy.
And it's called the Legacy Gala.
Okay. And so we're celebrating essentially legacies, individuals who have generation after generation been impactful in our community.
Mhm.
And so could you give us one more time those individuals who are being celebrated as continuums of legacy that exist here in the city?
And Continual Living Legacy, Miss Joyce Seals is the Grand Marshal and honoree for this year. We will be honoring Miss Seals and the Seals Foundation. We will also honor John Pugh, Representative Carl, not Amos O'Neill, Carl Williams, who was the first state representative
In that district.
Yes,
Yep.
in that district. Renee Johnson, who, when I came to Renee at the Saginaw Community Foundation to do the Juneteenth, she embraced it and she has been there as a supporter these 4 years. Also, Miss Keisha Smith, who has recently retired from the Saginaw Economic Development Corporation, has spent years in working with entrepreneurs and young businesses in Saginaw. Miss Pat Franklin, who was also a member of Samba, like I was, where Cosby came from, has been in banking and worked with other businesses in Saginaw. Jerome Buckley, he's called the
Michigan Banner guy.
Yeah, the Michigan Banner guy. The Michigan Banner has been here and grown and is very successful. And we're very proud of Jerome.
And the Michigan Banner also has the Heart of the City awards that are coming with Sam Shaheen as the keynote speaker, which is going to be, it's usually a sold out event. I'm sure it's going to be a great event at the Horizon Conference Center. So you can go to Michigan Banner, I think it's .org or .com, and get more information there, both on social media and via the website.
Yes. The other person is, oh God, think about it, Renee.
but essentially we are going to be celebrating those who are founding fathers and have really raised their children to pick up that torch and to go forth. You mentioned the word legacy gala. What does legacy mean to you?
It's building something great, whether it's financial, whether it's business wise, but building something that can be passed on, or I can look at it and see something that you've done that's great, and I can, grab hold and do it too. That's kind of what legacy is to me.
So as we talk about legacy and we celebrate legacy with this Juneteenth celebration, why is this year's celebration different than other years?
Well,
is it different?
Well, yes, because the climate we're in, you're talking about the 14th Amendment when you talk about the voting right, which is more than just the voting right. It's about our rights. Like I said earlier, I was a part of the sit-in when, back in the day when we were fighting against the same thing, but here we are again. And if there's ever been a time for us to unify and pay attention and do these things based on legacies that have passed and present, it's now.
Mark mentioned a need to make a point with his vote, being a registered Republican, having to do something different. You mentioned that the climate is different this year. How has, and when you refer to the climate, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, so you clarify. I'm assuming you talk about the division that currently exists in the nation,
Yes.
the polarization between the
Mhm.
races.
Yes.
How has that impacted which companies, which individuals, which groups are coming in to support this year's celebration?
Well, I'll go back 1 year when it all started with all of the orders and things, and we had a very tough year as far as raising funds for Juneteenth. I lost most of my sponsors. Some of my sponsors stayed, but the contribution got lower. So we weren't able to do the gala last year. So the climate has changed.
So it impacts everyone.
Yes.
All right.
Who are the sponsors, or do you feel comfortable sharing who are the sponsors this year?
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Saginaw Valley, Covenant, Help CVI, the Michigan Banner, Huntington Bank. Who else, Lord? The Men of Bethel. Um, so far, those are it right now.
Okay. So what is it that you need moving forward?
Well, we need more sponsors. We need people to buy ads and tickets.
Okay, sponsors, ads, and tickets. How can we become a sponsor?
You can go to the website, which is Saginaw Juneteenth celebration.com, and on the website you will see links and things that you can register to be in the parade or be a sponsor or buy tickets.
So that is on the 13th, the gala,
The gala's on the 13th.
the Legacy Gala.
On the 20th is the parade and festival, which we will have Straight Talk live and all men's fashion show and other events. I know we have a young dance group that's going to perform. But on the 19th, Juneteenth, we will have a family and youth day. Come to the park. We'll have games. We'll have bouncy houses, I think.
Bounce houses.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just have fun with us, you know.
So how do we get involved? If I want my family to show up, do I have to register? If I want a ticket, how do I get that ticket? If I want to be in the Freedom Stroll parade and strut my stuff, because the parade has really taken off.
Oh, the parade is huge.
So many entrants in the parade.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes I think like 1 year I think it was last year, like the end of the parade and the start of the parade were happening at the same time.
Yes, yes.
So how do people get involved? Do you need volunteers? What is
Yes,
it
we
that
need volunteers. I failed to mention that we have a $500 float contest for the parade this year. We would love to see many floats. Your floats could be tributes to legacies, whether they're Saginaw legacies or the Michael Jackson legacy, just legacies. You can also register on the website. If you can't find it, call me. The number is 989 906 4259.
what's the website address again?
Saginaw Juneteenth celebration.com.
Saginaw Juneteenth celebration.com.
Yes.
All right. So this year the theme is legacy. Mark, as you look at what you have done, and we've kind of had a similar conversation, Juneteenth is celebrating legacy this year. When you think and where you are right now, pivotal moment, you've walked away from a very powerful position, figuring out what is next. How does legacy factor in to your thought process as you look at the road ahead?
That's a great question. Frankly, I go back and forth on what am I meant to do? I have an interest around a number of things, and and making a difference in some of those things actually would be a legacy. I guess I don't really worry about legacy as much as, again, this comes back to a religious belief that God gave me certain talents, and am I using those? Am I using those talents to do something positive, and how can I use them most effectively versus just being? Because I do think I have an addiction to doing stuff versus just being. So I can constantly struggle with that kind of battle of like, I enjoy just being, but I also want to use my gifts to make a difference in the community. And how do I do that?
I appreciate that, Mark. You asked the question, and I'm glad you asked it, and I want to bring us back to that. Ms. Renee, Mark said, "Can I come to? Am I allowed to come to Juneteenth?" And your response was yes.
Hmm.
Why do you think so many folks who are outside the Black community? That's a real question.
Well, because it's an American holiday. It's not
No, I
just,
mean, why do you think so many people wonder if they can be a part of the Juneteenth
people
celebration?
are still confused as to what the holiday is, you know.
Hmm.
So getting involved would help you understand what it is and
I don't
why.
think anybody in Midland knows what's going on. Not that they would necessarily come, even if they did. But I don't think people in Michigan generally know what's going on in Saginaw or Bay City, for that matter. So
Bay City actually this year, and they started, I think, last year, maybe a year before that.
About
They
2
are
years.
actually celebrating Juneteenth as a city.
Mhm.
They
so
have
they have their own celebration.
Yeah, so they have reached out. There's their Juneteenth team and has asked, is there an opportunity for City of Saginaw and Bay City to collaborate?
Well, I
Um,
think they should.
yeah,
I think
Mhm.
they should.
yeah,
Flint also
and
does.
yeah, Flint, of course. I think that Flint is a natural. People would imagine that Flint would be a celebratory city, but I think that it's important to realize. And Mark, I brought that point back up because I want to say it again, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Juneteenth is not a Black holiday. It is an American holiday, and it is the holiday that really celebrates this great United States of America, uh, making strong effort to correct its original sin, which was slavery. And so it is one where we can say, okay, somebody got this one right. Let's celebrate this. Let's embrace it. And I think coming together is super duper important in light of everything that we have been experiencing that has been so divisive, whether it's Democrats versus Republicans, whether it's rural America versus urban America, whether it's Black versus white, whether it's Black against Latinos, whether it's white against Latinos, whether it's men versus women, whether it's straight folks versus LGBT community. There has been so many things that have divided us as a nation. And so Juneteenth, just as the 4th of July, is an opportunity to celebrate. Miss Renee, last question. We got 2 minutes. What do you say to someone to say, well, we have the 4th of July, why celebrate Juneteenth?
Why not?
That's a great answer. I'm always up for a party.
Miss Renee said, why not? And I say this to my light-skinned brothers and sisters who are out there. We celebrate the 4th of July. I look forward to it every year.
Mhm.
To all my Black folks out there who like, we don't celebrate the 4th of July, we celebrate Juneteenth. Well, I think that as an African American man who is a descendant of slaves, I think a celebration of both is in honor. We celebrate the fact that this nation received its nationhood, and that it became a place for people to come and to have these certain inalienable rights, as it says in our Bill of Rights and Constitution, that we have this ability to have the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. So we celebrate that, but we also celebrate the fact when all of God's folks, as Martin Luther King would say, Black folks, brown folks, yellow folks, white folks, were able to come together in unity and sing that song, "My Country 'Tis of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty." And so we want to make sure that all of America, all of the city of Saginaw understands that Juneteenth is about us realizing that we are better together, and understanding that as we work together, we build together, we celebrate together, we make other parts of our culture aware of those things that they don't know. Cinco de Mayo, Juneteenth, all of these celebrations make us uniquely America. America is not just a melting pot, it's a tossed salad. We're going to be gone. God bless you all. We'll see you next week. Grace and peace.